Welcome back to the lead. I'm Jake Tapper, the national lead now. He said he, quote, didn't like white people, and he apparently had a fascination with beheadings. Those are just two of the many chilling details we learned today about the man accused in a sickening attack on his coworkers in Moore, Oklahoma. According to the Cleveland County District Attorney, 30-year-old Alton Alexander Nolan was motivated by revenge after he was suspended from his job at Vaughn Foods for making racist comments.
Upon entering the building, he came across Mrs. Hufford and attacked her from behind, ultimately killing her and beheading her. He then saw Mrs. Johnson, who had been the person who had complained on him earlier that day, and attacked her. There were three different people that he had on his mind that had oppressed him, and they were of different races and different genders.
The FBI is investigating claims that Nolan spoke Arabic when he allegedly attacked two women with a knife. He had recently converted to Islam, and he quoted the Quran in various Facebook postings. Nolan's charged with first-degree murder and attempted murder and will likely face the death penalty. Joining me now is Jim Clemente. He's a retired FBI profiler and author of the book Without Consent. Jim, thanks so much for joining us. Based on what we know now, did he do this because he's deranged, because he's anti-white, because he's a Muslim extremist, because he's disgruntled? Why did he do it?
I think it's really a combination of all the above. I think he just used this opportunity to get revenge, but he used also the mechanism of radicalized religion to actually sort of rationalize his behavior. I think this is a very, very dangerous combination when you have hate speech, when you have somebody who has radicalized a religion, and when you have violent postings or violent behavior. That's sort of the trifecta, and that is an indication that this guy will act out violently.
There's criticism of the FBI and law enforcement for not labeling him a terrorist, for not labeling this a terrorist act. You're a former official with the FBI. Is political correctness part of that decision?
Well, I don't think so. I think they want to be accurately describing what he is. Now, people said that he uttered words from the Quran, uttered Arabic language during the course of the attacks. Unless those words are actually translated, unless we actually know what he said, we don't know exactly what he was saying and whether this was a terroristic act or really just a revenge act where he kind of wanted to make it seem like it's more than what it actually was.
Do you think there was any way for anyone to have anticipated that he was capable of such violence? And if so, what could they have done?
Well, I think the hate speech that got him suspended probably was enough to get him referred to a psychological counselor. And if he was evaluated at that time, he may have actually come up as somebody who was going to act out violently. Of course, nobody could actually predict human behavior that way because you have a lot of free will. You can make choices one way or the other. But when you start seeing red flags like that, a good psychological analysis would be able to pick up the fact that this guy was headed for violent behavior, I think.
What about his friends on Facebook? He posted some really horrific stuff there, including an image of a beheading with a religious justification, pictures of Osama bin Laden. If you had a friend like that and you saw those images, those expressions, what are you supposed to do?
Well, first of all, they can report that kind of stuff to the online organization. But I think that kind of thing, where he's actually posting those pictures of beheadings, violent behavior, speaking hate speech, I think those things kind of rise to the level that you might want to notify law enforcement in your area. And I think that's really what's going to actually prevent these kind of things from happening. A groundswelling of support from people out there, the general public, are the ones that have the eyes and ears on all these pages. He has friends, he has people he talks to. If he's talking that way, if somebody you know is talking that way and acting this way and posting these things, well, get him some help. Maybe we can prevent this from happening.
Retired FBI profiler Jim Clemente, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.